Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by... Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Saturday, February 4th, 2012. This is episode 845. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Stamps.com. Buy and print official U.S. postage using your own computer and printer. For my no-risk trial offer, visit Stamps.com and use the offer code TechGuy. And by Gazelle, the easy way to sell or recycle your used electronic gadgets from your home or office. Gazelle your used gadgets today at Gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Good to see you. Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. And it's time to talk tech. Yes, indeed. Computers and the internet and cell phones and camcorders and MP3 players and home theaters. Scott Wilkinson will be joining us at 33 and a half after the hour to talk about home theater. I was just watching, you can see it on Facebook, the production diary of Peter Jackson, who's directing The Hobbit. Of course, he did the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and he's back in New Zealand shooting The Hobbit. And if you're on Facebook, he's posting it. It's Peter Jackson on Facebook, and you can like him. I don't think you even have to like him on Facebook to see the videos. But we were just watching one he put up a couple of months ago, production video number 4, about how they're shooting 3D on The Hobbit now. And they're using 2 very high-resolution cameras. We've talked about them before. Called the Red Scarlet. And it's a camera that will shoot not high def, not even double or quadruple high def, which is 4K, but 5K, and they're shooting it at double the frame rate, 48 frames a second. Is it the Epic? Yeah, it's the Epic, not the Scarlet. I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction, Toronto Mario. It's the Epic. Red is a company started by the guy who started Oakley that really kind of set the world on its ear a couple of years ago. They announced that they were going to do not high-def cameras, but relatively inexpensive 4K cameras, quad-resolution cameras, double the width, double the number of dots horizontally and vertically, and that they were only going to charge something like $30,000 for these, which sounds like a lot of money, and it is to you and me, but boy, it's a lot less than an Ariflex or a VistaVision or a CinemaScope or whatever it is they've been using with film. They're all digital. And if you watch, it's really fascinating to see how they're shooting the 3D. And I'm not a big fan of 3D, but only so long you can fight the power. You just eventually, I guess I'll just have to give up and accept it. Peter Jackson, who I think a world of, is very excited about the whole thing. And when you see a movie like this that's shot from scratch in 3D with all the attention that they put into the 3D, you almost feel guilty going to see it in 2D. But I just hate wearing those glasses. I get kind of queasy with the 3D. And, they're talking about how they can, in the single shot, change the perspective from back to front and move you around. And that's exactly what I hate. I feel like it's a roller coaster ride. But, man, I'll go see it in 3D. And then I'll watch it in 2D. 8888 Ask Leo, that is the number, just back from New York City, where I yesterday did live with Kelly. D.L. Hughley was the co-host, and we showed some fun products, including a $30,000 boombox. Did you see that at the end? Wow, Behringer, which is a company that's made professional audio gear for some time. We've used a lot of professional mixers from Behringer. They make a podcaster setup that I've recommended in the past. And they want to get in the consumer electronics business. Their first consumer electronics device was, an iPod dock. This is a fairly non-interesting product. It's a dock. You put it in. You've got speakers. It's kind of, everybody makes them, from Bose to B&W to B&O. Everybody makes these. But I think they got a lot of attention because at the same time as they made the $150 normal-sized boombox, they made a $30,000, 8-foot wide, 4-foot tall, 900-pound boombox. They call it the iNuke. There's switches on the back. They look like the nuclear, bomb switches, where they have a cover over them. You flip up the cover, you turn it on, boom, and then you start playing the music, boom, boom, boom. I mean, we're in a big auditorium, a big stage with a live audience, 100, 30 people in the audience. Boom, boom, fills it up, and then you flip the red cover off, and you flip the iNuke switch, and the thing is deafening. Kelly and I had fun, though. She and I were dancing to it. I don't know why, but D.L. Hughley, I think he was just appalled. He just stood back and watched as we made fools of ourselves. It was a lot of fun. I'm sure somebody will put it up illegally on YouTube. So I'm sure you can find it. All the previous appearances are up there. Yeah, it's not, it just bugs me. I'm sure ABC makes people pull them down when they do it. Maybe it's on their site. I think it's livewithkelly.tv. Let me see. They finally got, for a long time, it was abc.go.com/live. I mean, it was very complicated. Yeah, livewithkelly.tv. And I don't know if they put segments up. Maybe they do. Yeah, it looks like they put everything but me up. Anyway, I asked them, because you've heard the rumors, perhaps you've heard the rumors, that they're still looking for somebody to replace Regis. And there were two rumors that I'd heard. One was Tony Danza might replace Regis, and the other was that Howie Mandel might replace Regis. And I was told no, that we still haven't decided. We don't know, and it's not, and probably isn't either of those, because Howie lives on the West Coast. It's got to be somebody who lives in New York. Regis lived across the street. That's what they really want. I'll move. No, I wouldn't. I have a nice lifestyle out here. 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. That's the number, toll free from anywhere inside the U.S. If you're outside the U.S., use Skype or some similar technology to call that number. One of the big announcements of the week between the last show and this show, of course, Facebook says they're going to issue stock. We knew this would happen. They even talked about it a little bit last week. They're only asking for $5 billion. Only. Now, the thing about that is they at $5 billion, that values the company, given the amount of shares they're giving away. They're only giving away. They're only going to sell 5% of the company, but it values the company at $100 billion. And I would imagine, now I don't take stock advice from me. I don't buy tech stocks, for the obvious reason I don't want to have a conflict of interest. You don't want me flogging a company because I own a stock in it, so I stay away from tech stocks. But frankly, if I were to have followed my instincts, I'd be broke by now. It's almost impossible to play the tech stock market because it's so volatile and crazy. But I have to say, and there's some debate over this, some dispute. I think it's 800. What do they have? 850 million users. They can only grow so much more, right? I don't know how many people are on the internet. I think it's fewer than 2 billion. So they've got they're almost half of everybody on the internet. They've got. So they can only grow so much more. But what they haven't done, and where they could grow, is they haven't really yet milked that cow. There's still lots more they could do to make money off of those 850 million people. And I think that's going to be interesting. Now, the people on the contrarian side say, well, but look at MySpace, look at Friendster. There have been many sites like this before. People switch on a dime. They could lose interest like that, and it could be the next big thing. And that's true. But somehow I feel like Facebook, they're doing it right. I think Mark Zuckerberg, the guy who runs it, and knows what he's doing. And what's interesting for a founder of a company, a guy 28 years old, who is now probably the richest man in the world, we'll see, he's kept control of the company. He still has 60% of the shares and 3 out of the 5 board seats. He has iron control of this company. That's unheard of. And so it really will rise and fall on Mark Zuckerberg's shoulders, whether he can continue to keep people's interest. And I think That's a bet I would take. I think the guy is brilliant. Whatever you think of him, he knows what he's doing. 8888 Ask Leo. Do not take stock advice from me. I'm an idiot. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You could take some tech advice from me, and I'll do that right after this.
I just touched it right when it was vibrating exactly at the right spot.
Very nice. That song, I couldn't get it out of my head for the next day. That was the song, the Black Eyed Peas song that we played on that Behringer iNuke thing. That thing is so loud. I mean, it's a good song to play because you get the bass vibrating. I guess Kelly was really enjoying it and accidentally stopped it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. I have been doing that show. I used to do it every quarter, 4 times a year, but I've slowed down about once a year now. But I've been doing that show since 2001, since Kelly started with the show. And the last time I was there, was a year ago, was the day that Regis announced he was leaving the show, and everybody was just it was a very teary moment, unexpected. Nobody knew that he was going to be leaving the show, and I make that announcement, so it was a shocker. It's fun to do. And Kelly is just a dreamboat. She is just every bit as funny and sweet and generous off camera as she seems on. She's very much the same person off as on. And that's unusual, to be honest. Regis was always like that, too. He was a little grumpier off camera, but that's he was like, I don't know what this stuff is. What is he? What's a gigabyte, Leo? Michael in Buffalo, New York. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, Michael. Oh, no. We're having the same problem here?
I don't hear him.
Maybe Michael went away. I'll put him on hold just in case he just fell asleep, because sometimes this show can really knock you out. Let's do Dan in San Diego, California. Hi, Dan. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
You push a line.
Oh. Hold on, Dan. I'm going to be with you in right a second. I just have to know that. Hi, Dan. Oh. You know, I don't really need callers to this show. I could just talk the whole time. They don't want me to back in Sherman Oaks. Hello, Dan. Are you there? Boom, boom,
Can
boom.
you hear it?
I can't hear a thing. Boom, boom. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I hear him now.
Oh, you hear him, but I don't hear him. That's good. I'll tell you what, Kyle. You relay what Dan is. I can't hear it. I can't hear him.
We'll interpret it.
No, you interpret it. A little do a dance. Do a dance that interprets. I don't know why I can't hear him. I can hear you. So there's some button unpushed somewhere in the magic. You know, you think tech is complicated. You wouldn't think radio. How long's radio been around? 30, 80, 100 years? You wouldn't think it'd be that complicated. It's kind of complicated. There's all those buttons to push. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe the boom, boom, boom shook loose a cable, says Web2684 in our chat room. I'll tell you about our chat room. Maybe I'll stall. A little behind the scenes, by the way. Live with Kelly is live, which is unusual. You know, you watch The Tonight Show, you watch Letterman. Those are live on tape. So they tape them 5 in the evening, which gives them time to fix anything. They could even do a take 2 if they had to. They don't want to, but they have till 11 at night. They have a few hours to fix it. Very few shows are still done live. The morning shows are done live. Today's show and CBS This Morning. Your local news is done live. It's very rare, though, that you do a live show, especially a variety show, because so many things can go wrong. They do live. And I was scheduled for that show to be at the end of the show. Halfway through the show, they say, "Can you do it?" They get quick, get backstage, get all the product people back, because we have every single product. I had 20 products. Every single one of them, somebody comes out from the company to watch, to make sure it's turned on, powered up, and they stand backstage, kind of nervously wringing their hands. And so all the product people jumped up and then ran from the green room to the backstage, make sure their stuff's powered up. I said, "What's going on?" They said, "Well, they had a big announcement tape. They're going to be doing a post-Oscar show from Los Angeles. And They still were editing. At 9:20, 20 minutes into the show, they still were editing the video that they wanted to roll. They'd been editing it for 12 hours, and it wasn't done. It wasn't done. So they had planned to have it now, and they said, you're going next because we don't have our video yet, which is fine. I mean, I was ready. Everybody was ready, so that was easy. But that happens, really. I mean, you remember the scene in broadcast news where Holly Hunter goes barreling down the hall with the tape and slams it in the tape machine? That's live, and that's why I love doing it live. But sometimes when things are live, they don't work. What do you think, Kyle? You want to try now?
I think it should work.
Kyle says, I feel confident. Should I go back to Michael?
Let's try.
Let's try it, Michael. Michael in Buffalo, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I hear you, Michael. Yeah! We pushed the button. Holly Hunter came running down the hall. She slammed the tape in the machine. Everything's working.
You gotta love it.
Hey, Michael.
I know what you're going through.
What can I do for you?
My question for you is this: I have a desktop. We're trying to set up a second screen on that desktop, and it's in a studio. So we're trying to run a VGA extender from the CPU over to where the monitor is going to be. So we already have an extender on the first monitor. We set up a second.
Wait a minute. You work in television?
No, I work in radio.
Radio studio. Got it. Okay.
Yes.
So you got two. You've got one computer, but you want to have two monitors. One of them quite a bit distant from the other.
Yeah, we have the two monitors. We just want to extend the desktop, make it a little easier.
So that's the question. Yeah. Do you want mirrored or you want extended? So it sounds like you. So there's two ways to do a multi-monitor setup. One is they all have the same thing on them. In this case, no. You want it to be a giant desktop.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So when you move the mouse from one monitor off to the left, it goes onto the other monitor. And when you move it back, yeah, okay.
So the graphics card on this Dell desktop is it's DisplayPort, and they've given us a DisplayPort to VGA adapter. Now, out of that we go into a VGA extension to the monitor, and the first monitor, perfect. Set up an extension on the second one, and I cannot get the resolution to look right.
Yeah,
it's pulling up very weird configurations. Now, if I plug it back in, if I plug the second monitor back into the computer with just the regular VGA cable, perfectly fine. But using the extender, once I reboot the machine, it goes back to those few resolutions, and it just doesn't look right.
What's happening is that for some reason the extender, and I think it's because it's mini DisplayPort to VGA, is not passing back to the computer information about the monitor. So the computer, all these monitors are plug and play now. So the computer looks at the monitor and asks it, "What are you?" And the monitor says, "I'm this," and then it sets the resolution based on that. It's not getting that information back. In fact, you could probably look in your device manager and see that it's probably set to a generic VGA monitor or something like that.
Okay.
So what you need is something a little smarter going back to the mini DisplayPort. There are companies, a number of them, that make things like, well, how far is it?
It's not that far. We're talking maybe, 10 feet.
And you don't, and this second monitor is only VGA. Is that the issue?
Yes, unfortunately, yeah. That's the only input on it.
Typical radio station. We had this monitor in the basement. Can you use that? Let me look, because we have to take a break. Scott Wilkinson coming up. I'll see if I can find a solution for you. Leo Laporte, the tech. The Eye of the Tiger. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, with Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru from Home Theater Magazine, hometheatermag.com. Actually, it's hometheater.com now. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome.
Congratulations on a great show.
It was fun.
With Kelly there, yeah.
Yeah. She called me gorgeous.
900-pound boombox. Wow.
Yeah. It's all, it's on YouTube. I don't know how long ABC will leave it up there before they declare it's pirated and take it down. But go see it if you can. If you missed the show yesterday. It's always fun. It's a lot of work. It takes 2 days to do those 6 minutes because we have to do a rehearsal the day before, line up all. Actually, it takes many more. It takes a lot of staff time too because they have to. We give them a list of 40 or 50 products from CES. They pare it down to 20.
But how many people are you exposed to during those 6 minutes?
Well, yeah, it's 4 million people watching.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's how many people listen to this show, so I don't know.
Ah, well.
How much work did you put into this segment, Scott? You better get back.
I rolled out of bed.
You missed rehearsal. Scott Wilkinson always talks home theater. Did you see? Before the show. We were talking a little bit about The Hobbit. Peter Jackson's filming it.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that thing you were playing.
And they're using those Red Epic cameras, and it's going to be 5K, 48 frames a second, twice the normal film rate.
It's going to be awesome. That 48K is 48 frames per second. Actually, is at least as important, if not more so, than 3D. Now,
I agree.
You and we have a thing about 3D. I like it better than you, and that's fine. If you don't like it, you don't have to see it. But the 48K, I think we can agree, 48 frames per second rather, is really important. That's going to make motion on the screen much sharper.
Will it be screened at 48 frames a second?
Well, that's a good question that I don't know the answer to, because I don't know.
I guess it's digital, and these are digital projectors, so they probably...
Whether or not the digital projectors have the capability of playing at 48 frames, I don't know.
This is all something that James Cameron, the guy who did Avatar, and of course Titanic before that, and Aliens before, it was his new technology, and I suspect Peter Jackson is using it. It was not only 5K, but also 48 frames. And he's really pushing this as a standard for future movies. And I suspect with somebody of James Cameron's stature behind it, this will become a standard. And, of course, projection facilities will have to accommodate it.
Right.
Because downsampling it to 24, I don't know. And it's interesting because if you watch this clip, by the way, it's on the Peter Jackson's Facebook page. You can watch his production diaries. The costume designer has to change how she does her work. She says the robe that Bilbo was wearing in The Lord of the Rings, he can't wear on this new one because it would look like things were coming at you. The hair has to look different. Everything has to be more, frankly, realistic.
Right, and they've got to do the color balancing differently too.
Mm-hmm.
I heard them say that.
So this is good. I mean, it means that these will be. Look, I think the goal in general is to make it more immersive, to make you feel like you're living the experience. That's why they're going 3D. That's why they're going 5K. That's why they're going 48 frames. And if it does that, then I'm all for it, because that's the point: is to make you feel like you're in the Middle Kingdom and you're living the world of The Hobbit. And if they do that, I think that's great.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I bet you it's going to look awesome.
Yeah, in about 18 years, whenever it's done. I don't know how long it's going to take. They're working on it now. So what do you want to talk about today besides that?
Well, besides that, I've got, as always, a bunch of interesting listener questions.
Yeah.
One of them I answered on the site a few days ago, which is an age-old perennial question. Which is better, sending PCM or bitstream from the Blu-ray player to the AVR, the AV receiver? From a Blu-ray player, you can send the audio by bitstream, and what that means is if the audio is encoded in DTS HD Master Audio or Dolby True HD or Dolby Digital or whatever the soundtrack happens to be encoded into, you can send that unaltered, unadulterated to the AVR as long as the AVR can decode it. Or you can have the player decode it and send the decoded, uncompressed, what's called PCM, technically, digital audio, directly to the AVR. Which is better? This is a question that everybody asks. And the answer is, it doesn't matter. At least in terms of audio quality. Because you're going to get the exact same audio quality either way. The difference is whether or not you want to hear what's called secondary audio, which is, for example, say you're watching the movie and you call up the director's commentary, which, you might want to do on The Hobbit when it comes out on Blu-ray. You might want to listen to Peter Jackson talk about how he shot the movie while you're watching the movie. Now, I personally don't like to do that, at least the first time I watch the movie, but on subsequent viewings, if you're really into movies and how they're made, you might want to listen to that. Well, if you send the audio from the Blu-ray player to the audio video receiver by bitstream, you're not going to hear it because the player won't send that secondary audio. So you need to decode it in the player and send PCM, this uncompressed decoded audio, at which point the player will mix the two together and send them both to the receiver. So that's really the difference, whether or not you want to hear that secondary audio. Otherwise, audio quality, it makes no difference whatsoever.
Very cool. Very cool.
Now, another question I got was about the new Vizio 21:9 TVs, which we saw at CES. You probably didn't.
I don't remember that. So normally 16:9 is the aspect ratio. That is the width compared to the height.
Correct.
That, our traditional TVs were 4 wide by 3 down.
Correct.
The widescreen 16:9, but 16:9 is not the aspect ratio of the movie theater. It is
most movies.
It is of HD television. Like if you watch HBO and you watch HD television, that fills the screen. But movies, you often have a black bar top and bottom.
Right, because they are wide. They have a wider aspect ratio than 16:9.
Unfortunately, there are several standards for movies. So there's no display you can get that will always work.
Correct. That will always work without black bars.
Right.
But Vizio and Philips, in fact, have come out with TVs with an aspect ratio of 21 across by 9 down.
That's the same as movies. That's 2.35 to 1.
It's
roughly
2.33 actually. It's very close. We'll call it a wash.
Right.
And so that is intended to watch movies.
Most movies.
Most movies, a goodly number of
movies. A CinemaScope movie, Lawrence of Arabia, you're still going to have black bars.
Still going to have some black bars. And other movies that are at 1.85 instead of 2.33, you're going to have some black bars on the side.
And worst of all, your HD TV stuff, like the Oscars,
have
for
lots
instance.
Of black bars on the side.
You're going to have on the sides, not on the top and bottom. So
correct. Now, what Vizio has done to address this is they have a whole thing called Vizio Internet Apps. Like all TVs these days have apps, right? And so if you're watching 16:9 material like the Oscars or Game of Thrones or something on HBO, you can have the 16:9 on one side of the screen and you can have Twitter or Facebook or something on the unused portion of the screen.
We are so ADD. Oh my goodness. It's not enough just to watch a TV show. I have to be tweeting at the same time.
Exactly. Well, a lot of the companies, Samsung and Sony and Panasonic, they all want to
I understand
this social TV aspect.
And it's what people want, but I just despair for our society. I have to say.
I kind of do too, to tell you the truth.
We just can't be watching a show. No.
I know. My niece Maya was over and watching TV with me, and she said, I can't really watch anything without a computer or a phone or doing something else. I just can't sit and watch TV. And I go, I can't do it. I can't just, divide my attention like that.
Yeah, well, that's because you're old, Scott. Yeah, it's generational. Actually, I'm not knocking it because I have at least 2 things going at the same time at all times.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes 3 or 4. Seriously, no, I'll have my laptop open, my tablet open, my phone open, and watch the TV show. Scott Wilkinson, he's the online editor for Home Theater Magazine, hometheater.com. Thank you, Scott. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this. And Calvin's wow, this is depressing.
Leo, your live reads Carbonite here. You're on.
Oh, that's the Hobbit, isn't it?
It is.
Ah, now I get it.
From the trailer.
Why is he playing this depressing song? It's the Hobbit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. All right, enough of that. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. So before the break, when we were talking about getting a mini display port to a VGA monitor and getting the computer that sees the monitor to see it correctly, see it at the right resolution. And then, of course, we were talking with home theater expert Scott Wilkinson. But I did a little research in the meantime. And what you need is some extender, or really an adapter from mini DisplayPort to VGA that is two-way, that will pass back down the mini DisplayPort the information about the monitor we're looking at. Because Windows actually queries the monitor and says, what are you? What can you do? And the monitor needs to say, oh, I'm capable of 1280 by 800 or whatever the resolution is. So I think it's just a question of getting the right adapter. You probably have an inexpensive one-way adapter. Apple sells for $30 an adapter for its mini DisplayPort to VGA that absolutely will do that properly. Dell sells one as well. I think what you need is just to get a better mini DisplayPort to VGA adapter so that the information comes back down to the computer about what the monitor is. If you still can't get it right, you can manually say, look, this monitor can do this resolution, use this resolution. It's a little trickier. You have to actually override the device manager and tell it, no, this is not a generic VGA monitor. This is a monitor that can do this resolution. That's a little bit more complicated. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. Let's get back to the phones. Dan in San Diego also. Hi, Dan. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Leo, hey, great to talk to you. Thanks,
Dan. Glad. Apologies. We were having some sort of technical difficulty. I think we got it worked out, though.
Yeah, these things happen, man. I'm in IT, so problems keep me employed.
You know, when you live on the cutting edge, you often get cut.
This is true.
Yes.
So the reason I'm calling is that I'm looking at moving to Japan or Korea sometime later this year, and I've been getting into taking pictures a lot. I've been using my iPhone a lot, which has been, pretty good, but I would like some more options with zooming in and just higher picture quality in general. So I was looking at...
Go ahead.
I was looking at SLRs, and I kind of stumbled on the whole mirrorless option with those compact bodies and stuff.
That's what I was going to recommend. In fact, I was going to recommend a Sony NEX. They make the 3, the 5, and I think there's even a 7 now, which is probably a little pricier than most would want to spend. But the 5 might be just right for you. So here is what these cameras are. First of all, you're going to Japan. Most cameras are made in Japan, not just Sony's, but Canon and Nikon, also Japanese companies. But the advantage of mirrorless versus a mirrored, I guess I'll have to explain this whole thing. So even in the film days, when you had a SLR camera, SLR stands for single lens reflex. It means that when you look through the viewfinder on the top of the camera, you're actually looking through the lens. How would that work? The viewfinder's above the lens. Well, the viewfinder actually uses a mirror, and it goes down, the optics go through the lens, so you're seeing, when you change lenses, you see exactly what that lens is giving the camera. And professionals want that. They say, I don't want to look through some viewfinder and see something that is different than what the camera is seeing. I want to see what the camera is seeing. So that's what an SLR is. Digital SLRs work the same way. There's a mirror. Now, the disadvantage of the mirror is it's slower because when you press the button, you hear that clunk. That's the mirror sliding out of the way so that the lens can pass straight through to the pickup. So it goes chunk, and the mirror slides up. The light passes through to the sensor. It also means it's bulkier. You have to have room for a prism for to pass that light up to the viewfinder. So they are now making what they call mirrorless interchangeable lens cameras. They're not SLRs because you're not exactly looking through the lens anymore. You're actually looking at a video tap. So what they do is they put a video camera instead of a mirror, and you're seeing a video picture of what's through the lens. That is not as high resolution, as high quality, as reliable as a optical view, but at least you don't have the mirror, so it's less bulky and it's a lot faster. So this is a very hot area right now, and there are a lot of mirrorless cameras. The Micro Four Thirds standard, which you see from a number of manufacturers, is one kind. But I would say the best of the mirrorless breed now. Nikon makes one with a 1 and so forth. But the best of the mirrorless breed is the NEX from Sony. And the 5, which is kind of in the middle, is around $600 or $700 with a lens. So it's not cheap, but you're getting very good lenses, very good optics, a fairly compact camera. Although if you look at these, they're kind of funny looking because the lens is big. The lens is the same size. The camera body's small, so you have this little bitty camera body with a kind of a big old lens in front. But you can get smaller pancake lenses that are not quite so bulky. I think these are quite good.
Yeah, and so that was part of my question, too. I had checked out those NEX cameras. I had noticed that one of them, the smaller C3, comes with, I guess, a pancake lens. It's like a little 16-millimeter lens.
Right.
And then that 5N comes with the big 18 to 55.
Right, but you can use the pancake with it, or you can just buy the body and buy the pancake separately. So you're not obligated to use the kit lens.
Right. And so for just a general purpose, going around, want something kind of small, do you think the pancake would be better, or is it better to have that versatility?
Well, there's other ones. It just depends. Did you say you wanted interchangeable lenses?
Honestly, I'm not really. I don't care too much about the lenses. My primary thing is just size. I want.
All right, then you don't need to go this way then. You can get the reason people get these is because you're still getting a big sensor. In the case of the Sonys, you're getting a sensor that is what we call APS-C size. It's almost as big as the full-frame sensors of things like the 5D and the very high-end professional cameras. Bigger sensors, better. Means more light gets in. The quality of the image is significantly better. So the bigger and the problem with compact cameras, the point-and-shoots, which are all excellent, is they have very small sensors. So that kind of hobbles their quality. On the other hand, I think for most photographers, a point-and-shoot is fine, and there's some very good ones. I like the Canon PowerShots. You can go with this with some higher-end point-and-shoots, like the G12 from Canon or their new G1X. Those are really nice, but they're expensive. If you really want to spend some money, the Fuji X Pro 1, I think it is very nice. These are all bigger sensors in essentially compact bodies.
Okay.
So I like the Canons. I think the G12 would be a good choice. If you're willing to go a little bit bigger, take a look at the brand new G1X. Very high quality, not interchangeable lenses. So big sensors with a fixed lens. And since you said, I'll go with the Pancake for compactness, well, that tells me you don't care about interchangeable lenses.
Right. I just want a step up from my iPhone.
Well, as good as the iPhone is. Another good one to look at if you really want compactness but good image quality and excellent video is the Canon S100, which just came out.
Great.
That's super compact. Super compact. So, yeah, it's hard for me to say exactly what you want. It's a good idea to go to a camera store and look, because it sounds like the size of the camera is what you really are worried about. And certainly for the most compact, these little Canon PowerShots, they slide right in your breast pocket. They're tiny and yet give excellent image quality. Not full-frame sensor quality, but excellent image quality. Certainly, for most people, more than enough. I always have to kind of sound people out to see what exactly they mean by quality, what exactly they're looking for. Because you get some people who nothing less than the best, right? And some people, it's fine. As long as it looks good on the web page, or I can make a 5x7 print that looks good. And any point and shoot will give you that. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. And it's time to talk about computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players, home theater, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's my number. If you want to call in with a question or a comment, it doesn't have to be a question. It could be a suggestion, recommendation, correction. Webpage is techguylabs.com. If you go there, you can click that link that says chat. That'll put you in our chat room. Always a lot of fun. 855 people in there now talking back to me. I watch the chat room like a hawk because they have lots of good suggestions. Everybody's calling themselves Rocky right now in the chat room. You might wonder why. Well, it's because when I was on Kelly yesterday, the co-host D.L. Hughley called me Rocky Laporte. And so now everybody in our chat room is changing. It's like Spartacus. They're all changing their name to Rocky. I am Rocky. No, I am Rocky. So tomorrow is Super Bowl. Big game. Everybody be watching that right on TV. Why do you watch? Let me ask a question. Why do you watch the Super Bowl? Do you watch it for the football or do you watch it for the ads? I watch it for the ads. I mean, I like football. I like NFL. I've certainly watched the playoffs with great interest since our 49ers were in it. But and I guess if you're a Giants or Patriots fan, you'll be watching for the game. But I think a lot of us, the game isn't always the best game. Maybe it's teams we don't care so much about, but the commercials are the best because they cost millions of dollars. You're seeing in theory, the best efforts of some of the most creative minds in the country who are doing ads. And so it's the ads I think a lot of us watch, but not anymore. You know why? Because you can see almost all of them online before the game even starts. This surprised me. I thought this was so USA Today is joined with Facebook. If you follow or visit Sports on Facebook, on the Facebook page, you'll see they've got a Super Bowl ad meter. And you can watch not all of the ads, but many of the ads that will be on the Super Bowl tomorrow now. Rate them and so forth. It's interesting. This has been going on since really the internet first became widely used by real people. There was a website that would put all the ads on the website till the advertisers complained, which made me laugh because I thought, why would you complain? You're spending millions of dollars to get your ads in front of people's eyes, and you complain because some internet website is running them? You should celebrate that. I guess they learned because now they're glad to, apparently, put these ads on Facebook and let everybody look at them ahead of time. I noticed there are a few not here. For instance, I know that Samsung has bought an ad, I think in the fourth quarter, to announce its new Galaxy Note. I don't see that ad on Facebook here. But I see ads from many of the other big advertisers, including Audi and Bud Light and Budweiser and MetLife and Doritos, Pepsi, GoDaddy, Chevy, Cars.com. A lot of the ads are already on the internet. And you can, I guess you can rate them. And, of course, guess what? You have to have a Facebook account. Oh, man. Who is this good for? Facebook. Right? This is good for, and I guess for the advertisers, if you are actually actively watching ads like that, you actually go to a website to see the ads, they're doing well, aren't they? But there's also some value, I believe, to surprising people. I can understand Samsung's point of view. We're going to wait. We're going to run it on the Super Bowl, surprise everybody, and then maybe they'll put them on the website after that, right? First air should be on the TV, shouldn't it? What do you think? Is it better to run these ads now, day before the Super Bowl, have people go watch them on Facebook? No. Somebody's shouting no. No. Lisa says no. Or is it better to have them on TV first and then put them on the internet? What do you think? 8888, ask Leo. I'm curious. Renee in Vancouver, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Renee.
Hi. So I've been listening to you for the last 2 or 3 years, and I've learned tons.
Thank you.
My question is, I'm familiar with PCs, and I back up my PC with Carbonite and with SyncToy and a external drive. My husband has a Mac, and he just got it, and we're looking to back it up, and I think we can use Carbonite for the Mac as well. But I wondered if you could recommend a program for backing up to an external hard drive as well.
You're doing exactly what I like, which is more than one backup. You're doing a local backup on a local hard drive, and then also a cloud backup, so that if there's a real disaster, you have you kind of like a fallback position. I think that's exactly how to do it. I like having a local backup because it's right there. Mm-hmm. Yes, Apple actually Macintoshes actually come with a very good backup solution that they call a Time Machine. Have you looked at Time Machine?
I had thought you'd said the disadvantage to Time Machine was it saves everything as a big ball and you can't see.
Yeah, I mean you can see it because you can run Time Machine and see if the files are there.
Okay.
What'll happen is as soon as you plug in an external drive, the Mac will say, "Do you want to use this as a Time Machine?" And you can say yes. I think Time Machine is very much like SyncToy. You're obviously listening very closely. You're exactly right. I like a backup that you can just look at the hard drive and say, oh, there's the file, there's the file, there's the file. And you can open the file directly. And I do like that. And there are Mac programs like that. Super Duper is one that's free that I think is fantastic. And it's, in fact, what I use. I don't use Time Machine for that and other reasons. I like more control. Time Machine is nice because it just works. But it doesn't give you a whole lot of flexibility. Shirt Pocket Software makes a really nice little program that works well with Time Machine, actually. You don't have to use Time Machine, but you could. Called Super Duper. It's free. Its backup is exactly like SyncToy's. It's basically, with one advantage. You can make a bootable backup. So this is what I recommend. I love this. So what I do is I have that external drive. I run Super Duper. It makes a bootable external drive that's identical to the internal drive. So if the internal drive should fail, and this has happened to me, especially on an iMac where it's hard to pull that internal drive, I just reboot the machine to the external drive, and now it's exactly the same as it was. And Super Duper can run on schedule to automatically keep that image backup up to date. So it continues to be identical to the internal drive. Now, the disadvantage of that and the advantage of Time Machine is it's not keeping versions of files. It's just making sure that the external drive is identical to the internal. So if you delete something on the internal drive, it deletes it on the external.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can change that, but that's the kind of default.
Okay. I also had a second question, just a quick one. I've been looking at speakers, wireless speakers, and some of them say they're wireless and some of them say they're Bluetooth, and I wondered, is there a difference?
Yeah, generally there are several ways to be wireless. One is to use Wi-Fi itself. A lot of speakers use Wi-Fi. If you have a good Wi-Fi signal and not a lot of traffic, that's going to be fine. It's a lot of bandwidth. Some, like the Sonos, are wireless using their own internal wireless network. That's a little more reliable. And then some use Bluetooth. Bluetooth is fine, but it's shorter range than Wi-Fi. It's only 30 feet, so you really can't be in a different room. And and so Bluetooth is good for near range. I use Jawbone makes a great little speaker that is Bluetooth, and it's great for hotel rooms because I'll have my phone, I'll play some music, and I can bring the little speaker around with me. So it's it's convenient that way. I don't have to set up a Wi-Fi network in my hotel room. So that's where I would use Bluetooth, is things like that, as portable mobile applications. And for others, I think Wi-Fi is probably the best way to go. You already have it set up. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It took me a little while. It's Star Wars, right?
The bark side.
The bark side. Use the paws, Luke. Now, stop it, because that's making dogs all over the country just go crazy. Darth Vader's theme to the barking dogs. It's almost as good as the Barking Dogs Christmas Carol. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Phone number 8888. Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Outside the country, use Skype. We get calls from all over the world, like our last call from Vancouver, British Columbia. Let's go to Bakersfield, California. Neil, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, how you doing, Leo?
I am well, Neil. How are you?
I'm excellent. Hey, I was kind of hoping to get on when Scott was on. Just wanted to give a shout-out to him because I went to college with him. And
oh, you're kidding. Well, he's listening.
He probably doesn't remember me, but I have a picture of he and I.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell him I'm so glad that he took my advice way back then, and that was to get his nose out of the music books and embrace technology.
Wow. You're the guy we can thank. That's great. Well done. Yeah, Scott's fantastic. He's our home theater expert. And, he's still well into the music, but he gets to combine both. And I think you're right. I think technology is, as it has been to me, very good to him.
Well, back when we were in college, computers were not really around.
And that's right.
I remember studying music and doing this really simple little synthesizer program for music theory.
Fun.
Anyway, on to my question. We are remodeling our house. We're putting in all new appliances, which in today's world, they're very sophisticated electronics. I have a number of computers throughout the house with a wireless network and a wireless access point to extend the range. I have a really high-quality analog audio system, a tube-amp Macintosh, and what I'm looking for is a whole house power conditioner or surge suppressor for the whole house. We're rewiring the house and put in a new service panel. I'd like to put something at the panel, and I've been researching and cannot find anything that will treat the whole house. Do you have any recommendations?
Yeah. This is actually something your local electrician probably knows about and can do. It's not unusual. In fact, whole house surge suppression is by far the easiest and most cost-effective way to protect everything. And, people think of surge suppressors as something that would be for their computer, but nowadays, with so many digital devices in the house, your television, your home theater, as you say, you spent some money on your gear. That stuff is all very sensitive to not only surges, but brownouts. So it is a good idea.
And clean power as well. It's a nice smooth sine wave.
Right. A number of companies make these, but it's not something you're going to do yourself. It's actually going to be something that's goes outside the house where the power comes in. But any electrician could do this. We did it in the old cottage. We have it here in the brick house as well, and it's not very expensive. Now, if you start putting battery backup on that can get more expensive. The more conditioning you want, then it can get more expensive. But whole house surge suppression and power cleaning, that's a simple thing to do, and there are a number of companies that make products. I don't have one off the top of my head that I recommend, but you're going to need a licensed electrician to do it, and they will know. They will absolutely know. This is something that's surprisingly easy to do, and well worth it. Absolutely. Joe in Ghent, New York. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Louie. I'm Leo.
Hey, you call me Rocky. It's easier.
Hey, Rocky, Leo, whatever you want.
Yeah. Here's one, by the way. It's from Smart Home that the chat room sent me. I'm not familiar with these, but this is a whole home conditioning system from a whole home service entrance surge protector for $279. A licensed electrician is going to have to put this in, but that's all it is, from Panamax, which is actually a good company. So there's a whole bunch of these. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe. What can I do for you?
Well, before I talk about network attached storage, I just want to say how nice it is to have you back in my life. After you left, Tech TV went down. So where'd Leo go?
I missed you, man.
I missed you. I found you.
Well, it's funny because almost immediately after I left Tech TV, which was in 2004, I went back to radio, started doing this show locally in Los Angeles on KFI, and we syndicated it in 2007. And it's slowly, word's getting out. I never stopped working. I never stopped talking tech. But, it was kind of sad what happened to Tech TV, and I hear from people every day, literally, who say, I found you.
You inspired me to build my first PC. I went out and bought Scott Mueller's Upgrading and Repairing PCs. And
Scott's still
read
around.
that book.
Yep.
And I used that for years. I just joined the Mac world a year ago.
Yeah, people don't build their own Macs. Only Apple can make a Mac.
Yeah. But I hear you talking about, catching up in your podcast in the Mac world. And I love the Mac world. I love that, we don't have to worry about any kind of idiosyncrasies. Everything syncs and works together. And
well, that's it. This is really Apple's lock-in. Is this ecosystem that they build? And so once you're part of Apple's world, there's this huge incentive, whether it's iPhone, iPad, or a Macintosh, to stay in Apple's world. And they, it's a lock-in. It's a very friendly lock-in. It's velvet gloves with that iron core, but you are locked in now, right?
But it's nice. Everything works.
It all works together very nicely. That's right.
Yeah. I want to do some network-attached storage. I'm in the process. I have a plan. I want to rip all my home videos, all my photos, load them onto the storage, and then my goal would be to have virtual or digital photo books.
Yeah.
Come into my house. You can open a tablet. You can look through the family photos.
What a great idea.
Or watch videos.
Now, this is, until about this year, this was the way to do it. You get a big central hard drive, put it in a closet where you don't hear the noise and the fan, and it's what you call network-attached storage. That means, really, it's a computer. It just doesn't have a keyboard, mouse, or monitor. It has an Ethernet port. You plug it into your network, and now it's visible, that big hard drive, to every computer in the house. They can play music. They can play videos. So everything goes on that central storage. It's also a backup server. There's a lot of advantages to it, except that just in the same, Just in the same way that Wi-Fi kind of superseded Ethernet in the walls, the cloud is starting to supersede this kind of network-attached storage. I still like it because you can have many, many terabytes of data. You can't do that in the cloud. But more and more people are storing their photos in the cloud, and they're just available everywhere because, and that's where Apple's, trying to lock you into that iCloud. You store all your documents in the cloud. They're available everywhere. The problem is video, which is way too big to store in the cloud. But Apple and the movie industries don't want you to do what you're doing, which is buy physical media and rip it. They want you to rent it from them. We'll store it for you, no problem. Just pay us $15 every time you want to watch it. Hang on, because I would like to talk about the do-it-yourself solution when we come back. In the cloud, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're talking high tech here. We were talking to Joe in Ghent, New York, about kind of the holy grail, isn't it, if you've got a lot of media, is a centralized large hard drive that's always on your network, visible to all your machines, Mac, PC, even to smartphones and tablets. You could have all your pictures on it, all your music on it, all your movies on it, play it from anywhere. It's not so hard to do. It's called network, as you said, Joe, network-attached storage. I think it's more economical than cloud, especially if you're going to do video. You really cannot store terabytes in the cloud yet.
Right.
Your own bandwidth limits is going to prevent that.
Depend on an internet signal all the time.
Yes, exactly. So I think cloud is fine, and everybody's moving this way because it kind of eliminates piracy as well. So music companies would love you to store all your music in the cloud. That's why Google, Amazon, and Apple, all three of them are doing this. You buy a song, it's stored in a locker in the cloud. You could download it if you want, but you don't have to. You can stream it. They want you rent movies instead of buying them. I guess you could buy them. Amazon, for instance, lets you buy a movie but never download it. Just store it in the cloud and view it anytime you want. And for a lot of people, that's probably the simplest way to go. They're not really interested in setting up a network-attached storage. That sounds pretty heavy-duty, and for most people, that's probably the way it's going to go. But you're sophisticated enough to want to do this, and you're right. There's some advantages. Internet access goes, you still can do it. Or if, as our guests in the studio who live in a rural area, don't have high-speed internet, they're stuck. They can't use the cloud. Well, they're going to want to do this locally. It also means you can store tons of data at no extra cost. So are you asking for a recommendation, or...
Well, a couple of things. I'm just worried about conflicts. I also want to play this on my TV.
Right.
And I know they all make, Apple makes Apple TV, Western Digital, which is what I've been looking at, the My Book Live.
What I would look for is a TV that supports DLNA.
Okay.
Which almost all do now. Many of them will also support Windows Media Streaming or Apple's iTunes streaming. The more standards they support, the better, because most of these network-attached storage servers will run software that makes them look like iTunes or makes them look like Windows Media or makes them look like a DLNA server. So if that is supported by your TVs, phones, tablets, then you're golden, right? So what you want is a network-attached storage designed to do that, and almost all of them now are. There's a company that I like a lot that makes a broad variety of these called Synology, SYNOLOGY.com. And they really pretty much will set you up for anything. They do have DLNA servers. That's the that's the lingua franca, and most TVs will support it.
Yeah, I've upgraded my router. I hope I've got a Netgear. I just bought a new Netgear with supposedly a dedicated video streaming channel.
Well, that's the other way to do it. Yeah, routers sometimes have USB ports you can plug hard drives into, and then they're essentially network attached storage.
Yeah, that's the way this is going to go. It's going to go I'm looking to say the My Book Live into the back of my router. Yeah. And then wirelessly stream the signal
that'll work
throughout the house.
Sure. I think that for sophisticated users, there are lots of nice choices. For the rest of us, cloud's going to be the way to go. But if you're interested in this, I think this is a good way to do it. I personally would prefer to see instead of doing it through the router, doing it through a NAS, which is a hard drive enclosure, because you get some additional features on that. And I like the disk stations from Synology, but there's other ones. I use ReadyNAS from Netgear. That's another good one. There are a lot of good companies that make these, but they just you need now network administrator skills. Suddenly, you're an IT guy.
Oh yeah.
But if you're comfortable with that, it's going to give you the most flexibility. These disk stations from Synology support all of the standards I mentioned: Windows Media, iTunes, and DLNA.
Oh, they look neat.
Yeah. So and then what you do is you can get a 2, 4, or even larger disk solution that gives you terabytes of storage. It's usually redundant using RAID 5 or something like that. So if a drive dies, you pop in a new drive, it rebuilds. You haven't lost anything. Yeah. So there's some advantages to doing it that way.
And I can still stream throughout the house.
Yeah. Anything that can see the drive can see your media, and that's the beauty of it.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look.
Yeah,
at that.
and your Mac and iPhone and iPad will think it's an iTunes server. Your Windows machine will think it's a Windows server. Your television will think it's a DLNA server. They don't care. They don't know. They don't know it's something posing as those things. So this is a way to go. Wired is better than wireless, especially for video, especially for high definition video, because that takes a lot of data. So if you're lucky enough, you've got Ethernet everywhere. That's a better way to go. But most people don't, so they end up going wireless on this. There are ways to do it yourself. There's FreeNAS, which is a distro. I think it's BSD distro. It may be Linux. It's a Unix free distro that you could put on your own generic PC. That'll let you do that too. There's lots of ways to do this. It's funny because Apple has their own technology called AirPlay, right? But it's really Apple's branded version of DLNA. They're the same idea, which is a device plays video that is then watched on a TV. So AirPlay and DLNA, very similar in functionality. I'm not sure how they're quite related. I think they are roughly the same. DLNA stands for the Digital Living Network Alliance. It's just basically a standard that all the companies who make this stuff agreed to. I love their motto. It's very Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Connect and enjoy. Connect and enjoy. Interesting solutions out there. Everybody's trying to solve this in one way or the other because none of us want to have we all have a lot of stuff, and we don't want to have duplicates. Every computer has its own copy of that photo or music or video, and we'd love to have it accessible everywhere in the house. And I know people who take this very seriously. This is their hobby. This is their life, and they spend a lot of time and money getting this all working. Right now, there's no easy plug-and-play solution, but they're getting better. Roscoe's saying he had a Boxy Box and a Western Digital TV WD TV, and that works. There are lots of different ways to do it. Chat room has some good advice. If you're not in the chat room, you might want to go to techguylabs.com. We'll put some links there to all this stuff, but then you might also want to go to the chat room and ask them. They all have their own opinion about the best way to do this. Me, I have all that stuff. Too much trouble. I watch cable. James in Hacienda Heights, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey, James, how are you?
I'm doing well. Having a little trouble trying to do some video editing.
Yeah.
I real stepped into it, and I'm using Power Director.
Okay.
So I've got video from my camera is fine, but video from my phone, I lose the audio.
Yeah, I've never tried Power Director. I like Cyberlink as a company, but I've never tried their editing solution. So I can't help you directly with it.
Necessarily Power Director. I think when I try to, if I play it through Windows Media Player, there's also no audio. But if I play it through QuickTime, there is audio.
Yeah, this is a very common problem. Let's take a break, and I'm going to come back, and I'll talk a little bit about what's going on here and maybe some solutions. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I've never heard of Power Director. I like Cyberlink. Not exactly an expert on Windows editing solutions. I always just remember Premiere Elements. I love running my own business. I love the control. I love the challenges. I love making the money. But people are so excited about Raspberry Pi. I'm going to have to get them on, and we'll talk about it. I started doing this in 2004. I
found FreshBooks. It changed.
Seagate has updated the GoFlex new firmware, and they're sending us the new stuff in the next couple of weeks, and I'll give you a review. I love the idea. The new GoFlex will act as an access point for everybody in the house, which is very interesting. This is another way of trying to solve this same thing, which is you get a hard drive with all your data on it that acts as, among other things, a Wi-Fi access point. So you can put all the data in there, put it in your car, and everybody can see the hard drive and watch movies from it, among other things. It's a very interesting idea. So they're basically external hard drives with servers built in. It's a very interesting idea. Yeah, I'm not sure I would recommend the CyberLink solution, to be honest. I don't know if that's a good solution.
It always is. I use Carbonite because I know that once my files are backed up in the cloud, I can get them back easily whenever, wherever.
So this is an interesting solution from Seagate, which is basically
over 1 million customers trust Carbonite to protect their home.
A kind of plug-and-play NAS.
Plans start at less than $5 a month. I want you to try it free right now at Carbonite.com. No credit card required. Just use
it's an intriguing idea.
You decide to buy?
They're going to send us one, and I'll give you a couple. I'll give you reviews. Hey, I should do I should talk about Stamps.com. Fan of. I know you know I'm a fan of Stamps. Have I talked about Stamps.com with you lately? So Stamps.com is so cool because you never go to the post office. Boom. And I'll tell you, here in Petaluma, they're talking about, we have 3 post offices. They're closing 2 of them. I think that's true all over the country. So the post office doesn't want you to go to the post office. They want you to use things like Stamps.com. Stamps.com, you can go there right now and take a look at it. Lets you print your own postage with your own computer and your own printer. You don't need special ink. You don't need a postage meter or anything. It completely replaces the idea of a postage meter. Mac or PC. It not only prints the postage, if it's international, they'll actually print out the international forms. If you're doing certified mail or any of the forms that you need, it prints them out. It also offers discounts the post office won't give you, like 21% off express mail, 15% on priority mail. And the other thing it does that I really like, if you have a package that's more than 13 ounces, if you just put stamps on it, you can't put it in the mailbox. You have to bring it to the post office. Not with Stamps.com. You can, any package, any size, all you do is you print the postage from Stamps.com, you put it on the package, and then the mail carrier will pick it up, or you can even call them for free pickup. And here's a nice no-risk offer we've got for you. It's a $110 value. Includes a USB scale, so you always have exactly the right postage, not a penny more than you need to pay. You get the supplies kit. You get $55 in free postage. That's a deal. And a 4-week trial, all just by using Tech Guy as the promo code. So visit Stamps.com, click that radio microphone, and use Tech Guy as the offer code. If you see my shining face, you'll know you're in the right place. Stamps.com, what a deal. What a deal.
Last live read's 9:32. Or not last, but your live
this hour's.
There you go.
Thank you.
I do too. I wonder why. I just wonder why.
Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. 8888. Ask Leo. That's the number. We're talking before the break. Did we lose him? We did. Did I hang up? Oh, well. I'm sorry. What were we talking about now? I've forgotten. Say again? Oh, yeah, video editing. That's right. Thank you. He had a problem, and this is not unusual, where he could see the video but not hear the audio unless he played it back with QuickTime. What that tells me is the audio's there, obviously, but the problem is, and this is always a problem, it's a codec problem. codec, C-O-D-E-C. It's short for compression decompression. It's the software used to compress the video and to decompress it for playback. And there are a number of different ways to do that on audio and video. You might be familiar with MP3 as an audio codec. That's a way of compressing audio. There are many, many more video codecs than there are audio codecs. It's a Tower of Babel, actually. And that's where the problem lies, is your video encoded, say, from your camera might be a QuickTime MOV file. That's the wrapper, not the codec. Wrappers include AVI, MKV, MOV. That's the file format. But then inside of that, maybe an H.264 compressor. That's a codec, H.264. Or it might be Cinepack. Or it might be, there's a lot of choices out there. And the audio is compressed using a different codec than the video. So very commonly, for instance, on a DVD, you'll have H.264 video with AC3 audio. These are all different kinds of codecs. If a program can't understand a codec, it won't work. So in this case, you're getting a video file. The program you're using understands the video, so it plays it back, but it doesn't understand the audio codec, so it can't play it back. So you have some choices. You can transcode the file. That means change a codec from one to another. You could transcode that video file into a more traditional video and audio codec. Or you can use a program that's smart enough to open more codecs, and that's my recommendation. My favorite for video editing on the PC is it's inexpensive. It is the standard, I think. It's from Adobe. It's called Premiere Elements. And it will let you input almost any file format, and then edit it, and then output it to DVD, which is what most people, that's kind of the process, the workflow most people want to go through. So Adobe Premiere Elements. If you're really stuck on using the Cyberlink program that he was talking about, you can continue with that, absolutely. But you'll need to transcode the video before you can edit it. A good program to have, everybody should have, is called VLC, or Video LAN Client. It's from videolan.org, videolan.org. And the Video LAN Client is a tool that plays back everything, including just about every audio and video codec known to man. So, but now remember, his problem is not merely playback, it's editing. It's opening it up and editing it. So, yeah, you can play it back, but now you may need to transcode it, and there are a number of good transcoding programs as well. What you probably do is download VLC because it's free, and examine the file and find out what format the video's in, what format these audio's in, and then you can search for a transcoding solution that will transfer into a more common format that you can edit. Handbrake is a program I particularly like for this kind of thing. That's also free, also from some French people, as is Videolan. Handbrake, like the handbrake in your car, .fr. I think with those two tools, VLC and Handbrake, there's pretty much nothing. You can't open, play, and edit. So it's a codec mismatch is what's going on. And it is very common, unfortunately. Happens when you download video from the internet, because there are all kinds of formats on the internet. But also, cameras, very common when you shoot video with your still camera, that it come out in a format that's just bizarre. Same thing with the phone. It just comes out just strange. Some weird format. VJ, Walnut, California. You're next. Hi, VJ. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Yeah. Hello, Leo. How are you doing?
I'm great. Welcome.
Okay, I like your show. It's kind of interesting thing you talk about.
Thank you.
And the question I have today is that I have a little netbook, Lenovo.
Okay.
And I have 4 or 5 different accounts on that. When you open the computer, you can sign on as any one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the person in that got some virus.
Once one account's infected, you might as well just assume the whole thing is infected.
Oh, really?
It doesn't keep it. Viruses don't respect account logins.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you can, and sometimes this is hard with netbooks, I'd back up your data. And I'm sure the netbook came with a way of remastering it, restarting. Usually it's a partition on the netbook. There might be some software that came with it. Sometimes they even come with disks, although since netbooks don't have a disk drive, that's not so useful. But if there is a way to, I would check with the Lenovo site. They'll probably have a way to restore it. In fact, if you call Lenovo tech support, this is what they'd say to do. So back up your data and then restore the netbook to the way it was when it came from the factory. That's the only way to make sure you don't have a virus anymore. And frankly, although this doesn't usually happen, the fact that on netbooks the recovery partition is there and available and visible to the virus means, in theory, the virus could infect the recovery partition. That always makes me a little nervous. Luke Stratton is saying, press the Lenovo Care button at startup. That'll give you a chance to reformat it. But my fear is that even the recovery partition is infected. So what I would do is I'd back up your data as best you can, including your other accounts, and restore using the Lenovo Care button, and then do a scan. There are online scans. Antivirus.com has an online scan. That's from Trend. So does ESET, ESET.com, our sponsor. They have online scans. Then scan it online and make sure that virus is gone. Because it could have propagated, unfortunately, could have propagated into the restore partition. If that's the case, now you're really in trouble. Now you need to call Lenovo and say, I need a disk or something that's known good. This is my problem, frankly, with the fact that companies no longer give you disks. Of course, with a netbook, you don't have a drive, so what are you supposed to do? It's just a little challenging. And there's no good way, frankly, to disinfect without restoring completely, in my opinion. You got to restore the whole thing. Hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back from the news at the top of the hour, Amy's in Los Angeles. Her friend's website was hacked. She wants to know, does that mean I've been hacked too? We'll talk about it. Jerome in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, wants to know what I think of Windows 8, the next version of Windows. And John in Los Angeles wants to know about wireless routers. He's got one from the phone company. Should he get Apple's? We'll talk about that and more. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. The website is techguylabs.com. You can go there for links to everything I talk about and to get in our chat room. Join the 921 people in there just having a ball. More to come. I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Sorry about those explosions. Did you hear those? I apologize. I was just demonstrating our explosive switcher. 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. That's the phone number. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, love hearing from you. Amy in Los Angeles is our next call. Hi, Amy.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for taking my call.
I thank you for calling. I'm well.
So, my friend called. Their site got hacked. Actually, their domain account, I guess, got hacked. So if you went to their site, it went to a different site.
That's interesting. People, websites are really running on computers, just like your computer at home. There's special kinds of computers called servers. Usually, many websites are on a single computer, and they, just like your home computer, can get hacked, and they can get hacked in a couple of different ways. One, they could put some software on that computer that will infect people who visit the site, or attempt to infect people who visit the site. That's happened to my site and others. But she's got a different one. It really wasn't necessarily a hack to her computer, her server, but a hack to her domain name registration.
Yeah.
So when you entered in her domain name, mycoolsite.com, somebody had probably posed as her, gone to her domain registrar and said, oh, no, I'm no longer at 164.3.4.9. I am now at 172.6.4.2. And they just changed it, which means when you go to mycoolsite.com, it doesn't go to her server. It goes to some bad guy's server.
And then I'm thinking, and I recognized it was not the right site and closed the window right away.
Good.
But then I was worried,
well, it could be that. So this can happen in either kinds of the two hacks I mentioned. what they'll do is they'll put, in fact, you can, if you're a bad guy, you can buy kits to do this, and they're not very expensive, a few $100, sometimes even less. You go to the Bad Guy Bazaar, which is an online place. I don't know what the real name of it is, but we'll call it the Bad Guy Bazaar. And special 58 rubles for hacking kit, and you buy a hacking kit, which is essentially a bunch of code that you put on your site that gets launched when people visit the site. It could be PDFs, it could be PHP code, it could be JavaScript code. It's a variety of different stuff. And what all of the different hacks do is attempt to find holes on the computer that's visiting the site. So, were you hacked? Well, probably not if you followed the precautions that I always am recommending. One is you run Windows Update. You keep it running and you apply those updates the minute they're available. You do that?
Well, I'm on a Mac.
Then you're safe.
I was using Firefox.
Almost all of these exploits go after Windows computers.
Okay.
Because
and I have everything, so if it tries to download, nothing will happen automatically.
Good. Yeah, that is a potential flaw on Macintoshes. Safari has a setting that says open safe files automatically. It turns out not all files that are seemingly safe are. PDFs are an example. So
that's why I normally use Firefox.
Smart woman. So you check that box and you make sure it doesn't open anything automatically. You keep your Apple up to date whenever Apple sends a update. You install and things like that.
Yeah.
It's simple.
I should be okay then?
Yeah, I guarantee you're okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, keep your eye peeled, and if anything seems weird, pay attention to it. But generally, these exploits that come in these kits are all aimed at Windows because that's the vast majority of machines that are visiting, and they're easier to hack anyway.
Can you get like a key logging thing if you go?
You could
accidentally go to a malicious site?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
And that can affect Macs also?
No.
No, okay.
Well, it's not that it can't, it's just they don't even bother.
It won't, okay.
So it's different. It used to be, 2 years ago, never. Now there are more attacks on the Mac for two reasons. One, because Windows users are protecting themselves. So it turns out about 80% of all Windows machines are running security software. So that means only 20% of Windows machines are hackable. Well, it turns out that number is roughly equal to the number of Mac machines out there. So now the Mac, as that gap between Windows machines and Macs narrows, it becomes more attractive to attack Macs. So people are putting more effort into it. But at this point, those kinds of website-based attacks are almost always targeted at Windows machines.
Or they're trying to make you click on something to buy something.
Well, yeah, you could still fall for that.
Yeah, well,
for instance, if her site looked exactly like you're a bank site and you started to log into your bank thinking you'd gone to your bank, well, it doesn't matter what kind of computer you're using, you're still vulnerable in that respect.
Right, gotcha. Oh, by the way, I think Super Bowl ads should air on the TV first.
You agree? Why is that?
Because it's special. It's supposed to be
special.
Yeah,
it's more fun.
If you show it everywhere else, it's sort of...
What's the big deal?
What's the point?
In fact, sometimes they run a Super Bowl ad that they've run before. It's like, no. If you spend $2 million for an ad, please make a new ad, for crying out loud.
I agree.
Yeah, and it should be the best ad you run. It should be your very best effort.
Absolutely.
Good. I'm with you on that.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Amy. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a little controversial to say Macs are safe. They're not 100% safe, and certainly if you're an Apple owner, it behooves you to be prudent. But almost always these attacks are going after Windows machines. And these malware kits are everywhere. And if you run a website, it's really important that you keep an eye out for it. It's not hard to get infected, unfortunately. There's all sorts of little flaws. Just as there are flaws in Windows, there are flaws in the software running websites. And that's what's happening. I should mention how her friend got hacked. And this is not uncommon. This is something you should also pay attention to. Her site wasn't hacked. Her registration was manipulated. So when you create a website, you go to a registrar, domain registrar. GoDaddy's the best known. Our sponsors, Hover.com. There's VeriSign. There's quite a few companies that are domain registrars. You pay them a fee, usually just a few bucks a year, to register a domain name. To say whenever anybody goes to Leoville.com, that sends them to this computer. The computer is identified by number, by the way, just like phone numbers, by what's called a dotted quad. 4 8-bit numbers separated by dot. 192.168.1.1. 4 8-bit numbers separated by a dot. That's how all servers, all computers on the internet are identified, each uniquely, just as with a phone number. But of course, just as with phone numbers, it's much easier to remember a person's name than it is a number, a website's name than it is a number. So this DNS system is actually a phone book. So you register a domain with the domain registrar. Domain registrar then registers it with the global domain registrar. And you tell the domain registrar what the server address is for your domain server, your domain name server, usually your hosting server. And that server is a phone book that says, you went to Leoville.com, that's really this number, 164.175.3.9. And that's the number that's returned when you type that into your browser, Leoville.com. You get a number returned back. The browser goes to that site. If you can hack that by, say, calling the registrar and saying, oh, no, I changed. No server is pointing to 162.3.4.5. And you can trick them somehow into doing that, which is unfortunately sometimes easier than one would hope. Then when somebody types in your domain, it's going to go to the bad guy's server. That's what happened to her. She has to call her registrar and say, stop it! Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Squirrel and moose. They got us. Kyle Benham, our musical director. Luis is the former guy. Oh, you're leaving? That's great. All right. They came and they're leaving. Men. We were talking about a site called Gentle Mint. GentleMint.com. This is a new category of sites. It started with Pinterest, which is really hot. Have you played with Pinterest? It doesn't attract me anymore, or at all. Never did. The idea is it's an online kind of bulletin board of stuff you like that you're interested in, and it's just wildly popular, especially considering it's private right now. You have to request an invite. But what happens is people just bookmark stuff they're interested in. Candies, clothes, furniture, just, whatever they're interested in, pictures. And then you follow people, and it's kind of like Twitter for things, I guess. And it didn't really sway me. It didn't really get me that interested. I put it on my iPhone. I, managed to get invited and joined it, and boring. But then this interests me. It's called Gentle Mint. Same idea, but it's for men. So instead of clothes and hairstyles and furniture, they've got things like hot sauce, buffalo wings recipes, how to break down a door. Yeah, now we're talking. Lego Captain America. Clips from the movie Stripes. Now we're cooking. Stuff manly men are interested in. The 1954 Volvo TP21 Sugar. So that's what we were talking about, and that's why men. But I think an interesting idea. I've signed up, waiting for my invite to Gentle Mint. It's an interesting thought. Do men bookmark different things? Sure. But will they do it? John in Los Angeles, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, John.
Hey, Leo. Hope you don't mind if I ask another quick question. On a Pixma 882 using wirelessly, can I also use it with a wired? Because it only seems to want to do one way or the other.
Oh, that's interesting. That's the Canon printer that has networking capability, wired or wireless. I don't know if it can do both. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe somebody in the chat room does. It stands to reason that it might say, no, if you're already on a wireless network, you can't use a wired network, although it also, to me, makes sense they might do both. A lot of times when they make these inexpensive printers, and they put networking in. They save money by putting in a fewer chipsets. So it may well be that the networking chipset is capable of doing only one, not the other. That'd be my guess. But that wasn't your main question, was it, John?
But my main question was, do I need to get the Airport Extreme if I have the Verizon wireless?
No, if you have Wi-Fi's Wi-Fi. So I take it you have a lot of Macs.
Well, I got a couple Macs. Yeah.
And you're wondering, do I need to use Apple's wireless router if I've got Macs? No.
No, I mean I got the one from the phone company. So do I need another wireless router?
Not if the phone company's is wireless. It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's all this. Wi-Fi's Wi-Fi. In fact, dirty little secret. Even though Apple's wireless routers are twice as expensive as everybody else's, they use the same chipsets. Firmware is different. It's Apple firmware. It uses different software. But no, absolutely not. In fact, otherwise you won't be able to, go to the airport and log into a wireless router, or a hotel or Starbucks. They're not all using Apple stuff. They're using, most of the time, kind of generic PC stuff. Chat room, a couple of people in the chat room say that their Pixmas do both. So I would try both. But then I'm seeing other people say, yeah, it's pretty common that it will do one or the other and not both. So that's kind of a non-answer, isn't it? Jerome in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Hello, Jerome. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How are you today?
I'm well. Welcome to the show. What can I do for you?
Good. Thank you. I appreciate you taking my call. I'm looking at a new computer. HP's come out with a new 27-inch all-in-one with smart touch technology.
Yeah.
And in doing a little research with the computer, it has Windows 7, but several people have recommended that I wait till it comes out with Windows 8 because it takes advantage more so of the touch screen technology.
Yeah, Windows 7 touch was added as an afterthought, not designed from the ground up. Windows 8, they really realized the future is tablets, and that Windows 8 is designed for touch from the ground up. The problem is we don't know really, because all we've seen from Windows 8 is a very early developer's preview. So it could change. We don't know how good it's going to be. There's really some question about this Metro interface, whether they're going to make it required. The latest I've heard is that Microsoft Office will not be Metro. So you'll be using, when you use Windows 8, sometimes you'll be using their touch interface, sometimes not. It's just unknown. It's too early. It will come out sometime this year, but we don't know when. I wouldn't hesitate. If you like this Touch Smart, I would buy it with Windows 7 because you'll be able to upgrade it.
You will be able to upgrade it?
Oh, sure, yeah. Windows, it's funny because in the Mac world, people just upgrade their operating system regularly. Whenever Apple comes out with the update, usually yearly, we'll just download it and install it. Windows people tend to only upgrade Windows when they buy a new computer, but that's not a requirement. And in this case, Windows 8, they've already said, will run on any hardware that Windows 7 runs, and it'll be fine. So you'll be able to, you'll have to buy a copy of Windows 8, but you will be able to upgrade that computer to Windows 8, absolutely. And gosh, we don't even know when that's going to come out. I have no idea. They're going to do a consumer pre-beta, they say, but we just don't know when they're going to release it. It's just unknown.
So all the software that you have on Windows 7 should be compatible with Windows 8?
That's one thing Microsoft does every time, is they make sure that they are compatible with everything.
Right. Well, I appreciate you taking my call, Leo.
Sure.
Thank you.
My pleasure, Jerome. Yeah. If you have a hankering for if you have a hankering for a Windows computer, don't wait for 8. We don't know when it's coming out. You'll be able to upgrade. Windows 7 is fine. Windows 7 is great. Yeah, touch will be better on 8. I guarantee you touch will be better on 8 because it's designed for touch. And same thing, if somebody sent me an email saying, should I buy an iPad now? Now, this is a little different. I'd say no, because even though Apple hasn't announced it, traditionally the iPads come out in March. The first iPad came out March 2010. Second iPad came out March 2011. I'm pretty sure iPad 3 will come out March 2012, next month. So we should hear an announcement soon from Apple. So if you can wait, I would wait a month just to see, because I suspect the iPad 3 will be worth upgrading to. It'll be worth waiting for. But Windows 8, we don't know when it's going to come, and we don't know. It's not worth waiting for at this point. It's at least, I would say, it won't come out before June or July, probably more likely September. So it's at least a few months off. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. I'm Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We got more calls coming up. In fact, our next call, 33 after the hour, will be Greg from Los Angeles. He says, WordPress for dummies, I need help. You too? Deanne's in the studio. She needs help too. So we'll talk about blogging software. I have to say, I'm probably not supposed to talk about it. I saw the latest version of one of our sponsors' software, and it was so slick and slow, beautiful. It's a competitor with WordPress. I don't know. I don't think I can talk about it, though. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
I should do the whole show like a chipmunk, shouldn't I? Leo Laporte in the house tonight. Greg in Los Angeles.
Hey, Greg.
Leo, how you doing, bud?
I am well. How are you?
Very, very irritated.
Uh-oh. What's the matter?
Paid somebody to do a website for my company.
Oh, dear. Boy, you know what? Say no more. It's amazing how hard it is to get good web design, and you can't base it on price. It's just I don't know what's so hard about this. It almost seems like you got to do it yourself. You want to get it done right.
That's the point I'm probably at right now. I've had a guy, the website's up, but it's just like almost a shell. He just kind of did it. I just kept bugging him, and he just kind of left it the way it is.
He ripped you off.
So
Yeah,
basically.
I've had that happen to me.
I've been on Craigslist. I've been on websites, emailing companies. Can you do my website? Can you fix it? Just a lot of flaky people.
Yep.
So he turned out to do a WordPress website for me, which is, I guess people have been telling me that's the easiest way for me to control it, is a WordPress is kind of, if you're not the most computer savvy, as far as coding guy.
What is the website for? Tell me what you want to do with the website.
I train professional, college, high school athletes. It's just for more of an info site. They go there, watch some video of training, watch, I might sell some couple products, maybe some hats and shirts, but it's a lot of just more information of what I do, where my bio, about me, kind of contact us kind of thing.
I would, I'll tell you what, I think you can do it yourself and have more control over it, pay less. If you go to a company that gives you some good tools, WordPress is fine if you know what you're doing, but you need to hire a guy to do it, right?
Yeah.
I would take a look at, this is a sponsor, so I'm going to say that right up front, but I think that they have a very good solution for people like you who don't have, it's certainly not a demanding site. It's a pretty traditional site, but you want it to look unique. You don't want it to look like anybody else's site. And if you could do it yourself, you would. And it's called Squarespace. And one of the reasons I like it is you can go there right now and for free set up a site, spend 2 weeks playing with the tools, see if it'll do what you want at no cost. No credit card or anything. And that's what I keep this WordPress site going. By the way, it'll import the WordPress site. So you can start from that point and then customize it. They've got great templates. Lots of people use it for exactly what you want to use it for. It's, roughly $10, $12 a month, but that's hosting plus the software plus everything.
Okay.
And I think it's easy enough that you can do it yourself so you can get exactly what you want.
Well, see, that's the problem is I actually sat with this guy when he finally got down to do something. I sat with the guy, and the website that I have up right now took him 15 minutes to do. This guy was fast. And what he did was I wanted a certain theme, but he pulled a template off WordPress and put my color theme I wanted. I actually went on YouTube the other day, and I figured out how to put my own. I put WP e-commerce.
Okay.
I actually put that in myself, plugin.
Yeah.
The problem is how do you, that template that he did, the color scheme and so forth, do I have to know how to code to put that on every page that I want to add now, or will it do it automatically?
The way it works and the way most sites work, not Squarespace, but the way most sites work is that he's using something called cascading style sheets, or CSS, to theme the site. And so what you will do is you will modify the CSS files to modify the theme. Now, it's not exactly coding, but you need to know how CSS works. It's not completely easy. It's not JavaScript. It's not a programming language. And it's you probably can figure it out. But in general, if he used a theme, is it WordPress.com or is it your own hosting?
My own hosting.
Yeah. In general, the way WordPress works is he downloaded a theme which has built-in style sheets, CSS files, and may have modified those a little bit or whatever, but that's the way they are. Now, in order to change that, you need to go into the CSS. I hate to see you start doing that. I mean, unless you really want to learn how this stuff works, it could really suck you in.
Okay. I went in, I logged in, I finally found the administrator, I logged in the minute, I can see that all the pages, I can edit the, the font.
So most themes will have a variety of page styles. One for this kind of page, one for the other kind of page, and then you modify the CSS in each style. But I tell you, you can ruin it. So make sure you back up the files so that you don't make a mess. But you can, with trial and error, you could probably do a lot of the things you want to do. But if I were you, I would take a look at Squarespace, where you're allowed to do the CSS, but generally speaking, people don't. They modify the themes at a higher level with point and click, and it's just much easier to do, I think.
So if I get the WordPress, the theme and all the templates that he used, it will import all the content, but if you want to import the theme, you will have to cut and paste the CSS. But I would take a look at their themes. They're frankly more attractive, I think, than the WordPress stock themes. I use a lot of camouflage when we're training, so I had him use camouflage.
Neat. So you want to have camo and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's the problem is it's very hard to vet somebody who says I do web design. You can look at references and stuff, and you just don't know what you're going to get. And you know what? A kid right out of college might be great and charge you $12 an hour, and you go to a company that charges you $28,000, and they don't do as good a job because they hired a kid out of college too, but he wasn't as good. There is no. It's so new. There's no standards. There's no, association that you can go to and say who's good and who's bad. It's really hit and miss. So, there's sites you can go to like elance.com, elance.com, where you can find coders and hire them. Sometimes kids from Russia are better. These guys work for rubles and do a great job. It's just unpredictable. So the real rule of thumb is make sure you own all the resources. You own the site. You own all the resources. He gives you all the files. And cut bait as soon as you realize the guy's not cutting it. Move on. And if it's a site that's simple enough that you can do it yourself on somewhere like Squarespace, that's what I would do, because then you own it. But again, you're going to learn some skills that maybe you don't care about. You want to focus on your training, and the stuff that it's kind of similar in your field, Greg, because it's hard to know with a personal trainer who's going to be great and who's not. So you just try people and you get a gut feeling, and the key is fire them the minute they're not working out and go to the next one, because there's always plenty more, and keep going until you find somebody you really like and you're really, really good out there. This is true for IT support and all this stuff, is that there's good people and there's bad people, and there's no real way to judge them. Not yet. I like WordPress. My blog, Leoville's in WordPress, looks pretty funky and old because I do it myself. But I need to know it, right? I need to know how to do it. But I can tell you, as soon as the new WordPress comes out, which is it's starting to roll out now, or rather the new Squarespace comes out, I'm going to be moving over there because it's just gorgeous. It's just very slick. Dick in Silverado, Canyon, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Dick.
Hello again, Leo. How you been?
My pleasure. Great.
Okay. Original laptop hard drive, 60 gigs.
60 big gigs. Yeah.
Yeah. 60 gig IDE. Purchased a 320 gig IDE. Used Acronis to.
Hang on, we got to take a break. I hear the magic sounder. We'll come back, and I'll answer your question. Dick D. Bartolo or Gizwiz coming up too. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Blah blah blah. Hey, let me tell you a little bit about Gazelle.com while we're in the break, because I think all of the people who watch this show have stuff in your closet and your drawers that it's piling up. Every geek I know has a wire drawer, right? You don't. There's every wire known to man in there, right? Yes? Am I right? Okay. Show of hands. How many of you have a gadget drawer? Like there's Palm Pilots in there. Four generations of cell phones in there, right? Old ebook readers. God knows what's in there. How would you like to turn that into money? Yes, your wife would. Here's the deal. It's Gazelle.com. I love this idea. Now, yeah, you could always go on to eBay and sell it yourself, or you could just go to Gazelle.com and they'll give you straight up cash for your gadgets. And I'll tell you what, if you've been fantasizing that you're going to sell, one of these days, I'm going to sell, don't stop. Just go to Gazelle.com. Gazelle.com. They have hundreds of categories, thousands of products. They will give you a price right up front. They'll pay the postage. You ship it to them. Then they'll send you cash. GAZELLE.com. They'll give you an offer right off the bat for your gadget. 22 categories of gadget. Every gadget worth $1 or more qualifies for free shipping. And if you've got a box going and some of the gadgets are worthless, don't worry. They recycle it appropriately. Let's say you got the old iPhone. You want to get an iPhone 4S. You want that Siri. Whoops. Stop that. All right. I'm getting the countdown on the screen as soon as it's done. Thank you. Bye-bye. Let's do that again. iPhone. And I got an old iPhone 4. How much can I get for this? Let's say it's a 16 gig. They'll ask you some questions. Is it in good shape? Yep. $157. That's almost all the way to an iPhone 4S. Now, here's the beauty. You can get cash, get a check, get a PayPal, or 5% extra when you choose Amazon gift card. You can buy that iPhone from Amazon. How do you like that? They'll send you or you actually print out a mailing label. They'll pay the postage. You get the cash. You get a Walmart gift card, PayPal check, or an Amazon gift card. But do get the Amazon gift card for an extra 5%. GAZELLE. I like their new motto. Keep it moving. It really is a blockage, isn't it? When you got that closet full of stuff. Keep it moving with Gazelle. See, I've got one item in my box worth $157, but I can add more all the time. Just fill that box up. Get that wire closet emptied out. Gazelle, GAZELLE.com. Don't sell it. Gazelle it. All right. Can we get Dickie D on the line here? Let me do that real quick. Huh? No response. Oh, my God. Dick, quick. Well, keep trying. Dick is having... Are you in the studio with him, Myra? Have him reboot. I love the new LL Bean catalog cover. I saw that. I just love it. It's a reprise of a famous Norman Rockwell cover. Let me see if I can find it. I saw that. Oh, and a new OS 10 combined update. Uh-oh. 1.35 gigabytes. Jiminy Christmas. Randall Ford. It's beautiful. I love what he did. He basically made a picture that looks like a Norman Rockwell. Oh, it's kind of small. Oh, that's ridiculous. Why do they do that? Oh, there we go.
All right, Leo, last library, Carbonite.
Thank you. Dedicate that to the late Don Cornelius. Soul Train. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let's see. We were talking with Dick in Silverado Canyon. He has an old IDE drive. He's replaced with a larger, big IDE drive. But you want to figure out how to get the old drive's contents to the new drive.
Well, just part of it. The hidden partition that allows you to do a system restore.
Yeah.
Everything else copied over, but that didn't.
Right, because it's hidden. How did you copy it?
With Acronis.
Okay, that's right. You said that. Yeah, so you have a couple of choices. You could unhide the partition and then let Acronis TrueImage back it up. But the folks that make the hard drive also offer a bit copy utility. What you want is a utility that copies every sector regardless of the contents. And that's the best way to do it. Every company that manufactures hard drives offers it. Western Digital has a tools kit. So I can't remember what Seagate calls theirs. But if you look online in the company that makes the hard drive, they will have... Now, the problem is you need both drives connected, not via USB, but you need them both in the computer. It'd almost be... It's hard to do this in a laptop. If you had a desktop, you could do it.
It's hard to do this in a laptop. If you had a desktop, you could do it.
So what I would suggest is maybe pulling both drives, put them in a desktop, and then using the bit copy software to make an exact copy. I'm surprised. Actually, TrueImage might have a way of doing that. Doesn't TrueImage have a way to do that?
Doesn't TrueImage have a way to do that?
When Leo comes on, can you...
That's Dick DiBartolo. I knew I was hearing something. I couldn't figure out what it was. Hey, Dick! Dickie D is here. Our Mad. Where are you, Dick? It doesn't look like you're...
I'm on a totally different camera.
You're not in Disneyland. Okay, turn off this... All right. Turn off the sound, Dick, because he's hearing the wrong sound. All right, let me see if we can do this again. Dickie D, are you there? No, he's still on delay. Let's take another call. Lynn in Land O'Lakes, Florida. Hi, Lynn. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. Thank you so much for taking my call.
My pleasure, Lynn. What can I do for you?
I've got an iPad. I got a refurbished Apple iPad 2.
Yeah.
And here's my concern. And I don't know whether I should be concerned or not, because I got a refurbished one. I thought maybe there's a problem. I uploaded the little game Words with Friends.
I
which
love
is a
that
fun
game.
Little game.
Oh, I have 10 games going at once. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yep.
But when somebody, you'll get a little notification that'll say it's your turn.
Yeah.
So and so wrote, right?
Right.
But then when I go to my game, it doesn't show up. It still looks like it's my turn. So it's not uploading. Is that normal?
No, it's not normal, and it's not a broken iPad.
Okay.
You're online, right?
I have a Wi-Fi.
Okay. So
and it tells me. I check to see if I'm on. I check to see if the Wi-Fi is sure
it's
enough.
It's a Words with Friends problem. I have to say, Zynga, which bought the company that makes Words with Friends, it doesn't keep for some reason their servers seem to be unreliable. So what I would do normally when you launch Word with Friends, you'll see it updating. It'll show a little, thingy bedob, and it's updating. Yeah, you got to wait till it's finished updating, and then it will change. It'll say, "Oh, I got to move." Sometimes that takes a while.
When mine updates, sometimes nothing shows up.
Nothing, and you're logged into the right account, right? Because sometimes it works.
Oh yeah, I don't have to log in. I just
Well, you can be logged into the right account or the wrong account. So you got to make sure you're logged in. I think it's Zynga's servers. I think that Zynga is not putting enough money into the server. It's not anything wrong with your iPad. Like when you go to the browser, Safari, you're able to launch a website and it works fine, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I am.
Yeah. So I know it's hard to know. Is this the iPad or what? But in this case, it's not unusual. It's Words with Friends. It's the company Zynga. Their servers, I think what happens sometimes is these games get so successful, there's so much traffic going on that their servers just can't keep up. And that's what's happening. It's going out, trying to get the update, and it's not getting it. Try it again later, middle of the night. I think you get better results. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, when I was on the Words with Friends, at one point it popped up and said something about debug. Yeah. I know nothing about debugging it. I have
No, of course not. That's not for you. That's for their programmer. Junky software. So it might be that you can make things better by deleting it and reinstalling it. You press the icon till it goes jiggle, 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 and then you press the X and it goes away, and then download it again. Sometimes that fixes it. You'll have to re-log into your Words with Friends account. But honestly, it's just junky software. Zynga's not notorious for making very good software, to be honest.
Okay.
And I think that's it. It's not. Do not blame your iPad. Your iPad's fine. And one of the advantages of buying a refurbished iPad, you bought it from Apple, right?
Yeah.
One of the advantages of buying a refurbished iPad is Apple backs it up. It's under warranty. So if you had trouble with any other program, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think it's just Words with Friends, and that's not unusual. Too bad, too, because it's really fun. How many games at once are you playing?
I have about 6 of them going. Yeah.
My mom just keeps beating me. I'm going to continue to play it till I can beat my mom. But it's great because it's a way for us to kind of stay in touch. Yeah, I love it. It's really fun. It's basically Scrabble.
You relieved my concerns there. I appreciate that.
It's Zynga. It's just nothing wrong with your iPad, Lynn.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you very much,
Take
Leo.
care. Bye-bye. And I'm not going to give out my Words with Friends handle because I already got 10 games going on. I can't do any more. Can't do any more than that. I don't know if we have about, a minute left, but Dick D is there, so let's try him. Can you hear me now, Dick?
I can hear you now. Thank you.
Our Mad Magazine's maddest writer, our Gizwiz. We got just a minute or two. You got a gadget for us?
Yeah, we'll just talk about Earbuds, YURBUDS. Sarah and I found them at Showstoppers, but the radio audience may not know about them. So you put them in your ear, you give them a flip, and they will not fall out. We had a guy doing handstands with them in. I tried to get Sarah to do a handstand wearing them, but she wouldn't do it. So if you're a jock and you want headphones that will stay in, they're called Earbuds.
Do they actually mold to your ear, or are they just
no, Leo? They're actually there are several sets of ear adapters in there, but they told me if they don't fit, send us a photo of your ear, and we'll send you something that will fit.
That's funny. That's funny. They are. They say screw them in. Twist lock technology. It's funny. At Macworld Expo, Sarah and I saw, who was it? I think Polk was offering headphones, and they had guys and gals on trampolines wearing these headphones to demonstrate they wouldn't. Is this a common problem, headphones falling out? I guess it must be. I guess those earbuds you get with your iPhone, they do fall out. Dick is at the Daily Gizwiz site, which is gizwiz.biz, GIZWIZ.biz. That's where you'll find a link to his earbuds and all of the gadgets that he talks about on the show. GIZWIZ.biz. And when you go there, make sure you play the What the Heck Is It contest for a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. I'm out of time. Can't believe it. Time doth fly. Thank you for joining us on the Tech Guy Show. We'll be back next time. I hope you will too. I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.